Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we're going to be running a team pretty similar to the one I ran in my last video with Tentacruel and Double, but this time instead of Obstinate I'm going to choose to run Trev. I find a lot of teams really weak to Trev, mostly because it's honestly has some issues in the meta, and certainly the nerf has impacted a lot, but I'm hoping that it's going to core break the meta. Overall, I went 16 and 14 with this team, but I did go 0-5 in one set where I definitely could have played a little bit better. If you want to check out all the battles, they're going to be on twitch.tv/KingIV. I'm going to show off about 2 sets here, so let's go ahead and get started with the battles here. We're going to have Tentacruel into Dragonite. So this is certainly one of the matchups where having Obstagoon is like both better and worse. With like shields up, it certainly would be I don't know, a little bit more straightforward. And this is an example of where Trev is much better than Obstagoon, in the sense that Trev does resist everything. I don't need to shield. Unfortunately, I do end up getting twice debuffed in this particular matchup here. So I do throw the Shadow Ball right away. And I'm not too fussed in terms of actually winning this switch here. I'm going to let this go. I do make a slight misplay, which you'll see in a little bit. And unfortunately, I get debuffed again. And I should have thrown the Shadow Ball there. Yeah, I definitely should have thrown the Shadow Ball there. I thought the C-Bomb was going to be enough. And I was hoping to double kick down, but they ended up making it to the move, which was really, really unfortunate for me. And they come into Dragonite. I will throw the Body Slam. And they end up shielding. And I'm going to try to make a call here that it's going to be the Dragon Claw bait. But then they end up just throwing the superpower at me. And it ended up being a Cresselia in the back, which having double there would have been really nice. Certainly still would have been a pretty tough matchup in the end. And I think I try to go Trev here and get to the Shadow Ball. I guess I should try to shield that and try to get to the Shadow Ball. It's probably my only realistic win con. But this matchup is pretty much over. So, unfortunate double debuff on the Trev, and I should throw the Shadow Ball, and then I would have had a little bit more of a straightforward matchup, because they would have thrown on. The Shadow Ball would have taken out, or I could just stayed and let them take me out. Then I would have had a little bit better of a situation here. But that's quite right. Another core breaker for this team that is quite popular in the meta is actually a Alolan Sandslash. It's a very difficult Pokemon for this team to deal with in the lead. I might show off a battle in this particular set of battles here, but typically I would stay in the lead and just sack the Tentacruel. And the Tentacruel, they do typically need to throw 2 draw runs. If it's a Shadow variant and don't get the debuff on the Scald, then they can just Ice Punch you on the second one. Okay, so this is a very neutral matchup. Both of them throwing resisted poison jabs, and they were both throwing neutral stab moves in the form of Crunch and Scald. I do wait for the poison jab to come through just to make sure they don't catch the Scald on something else. And I should be able to win the 0 pretty comfortably here. Actually, probably would be much closer if I got debuffed on the first one. Yeah, likely I wouldn't be able to overfarm like this, so I do, as you can see there, overfarm a little bit, and then throw the Scald, which is enough to take them out, and they come into Cobalion, and I could have thrown a little bit earlier there, but I actually don't mind that they throw right away here, just because the Shadow Claws and Shadow Balls are going to put this Cobalion pretty low anyways, and they are over farming here because they already had the move, but they're trying to throw on good timing. I will let this go, and they do throw the Shadow Ball at me. I think I get baited here. No, I don't get baited, and I'm going to count to 4 and then throw the move, which I do believe that they end up shielding. Yes, they do. I'm going to shield. And I'm going to keep farming up here. I actually got a little bit worried here. I'm like, wow, did they actually make it to another Stone Edge? This should have been one more double kick. It actually ended up being a Sacred Sword. And I'm going to farm up quite a bit on the CMP to another Sacred Sword. And throw the Shadow Ball. And then here comes Virizion. So I'm going to do 4 and throw. So they have a move right now. But I'm going to force them to throw at me. I should be able to survive 2 Sacred Swords anyways from the Virizion. Well, just barely. Well, 2 Sacred Swords from full, I should say. Onto the double. So even if they CMP tie me on the second one, it wouldn't quite KO. I would just barely be able to survive. Well, not barely. I'd be like at 15% health. So able to land the body slam, which is enough to take out the Virizion. Interesting way for them to play out the lead there. I guess they had like 2 neutral matchups and like one slightly negative matchup in the form of Virizion versus Tentacruel. I guess in the Zero Shield, Tentacruel wins it pretty straightforward. But overall, I really like this team variant. Um, Certainly, some leads are not quite as positive and a little bit not as straightforward to play out. So this is an example where having the Trevenant is a little bit better. So I will throw the Scald. I believe actually get the debuff on the move here. This is enough for the Thunderbolt. I let it go because they are debuffed, and they actually end up having Rock Slide Sego Boost. So I'm gonna farm up, and I'm gonna throw the Scald, hoping for another debuff. And I catch the Psycho Boost. They do 1 counter then throw. They are debuffed here, so it won't do too much. And then here comes Scrafty. This is good to bait out. And unfortunate timing on my side, because if I do 3 double kicks then throw, then they will reach the power up punch before me. So I choose to throw on alignment, which gives them the free counter. Also doesn't allow me to get the move off. And I let this go, knowing that they have a Psycho Boost. And I throw the Scald at them before they make it to the foul play. I know they have a Psycho Boost banked on Trev. So, okay, well, they end up switching out here. And unfortunately, this is not a good situation for me. This is where I guess Goon would have been more helpful to play out the matchup. And they throw at 6 here, so I know what's coming. It's going to be an obstruct. Otherwise, there's no reason for them to not throw the Night Slash right away. And this is going to be a Night Slash. I guess I could try to shield this and make some plays, but they end up getting the boost, which they're basically going to be able to almost counter down my Trevenant. I try to throw on CMP here, or at least I hope that they try to throw on CP. Then my stream went down a little bit there, so the video got a little bit funky there at the end. All right. Yeah, so I end up trying to catch the move. Oh my gosh, why is my video getting encoded so weirdly here? Yeah, this is very weird here. Okay, I guess my video is super laggy. Oh, the stream was super laggy here. Anyways, as you can see in this particular matchup, I actually ended up winning this game. So I end up double shielding the Tentacruel versus the Registeel, and then I bait out the Dragon Tail Haxorus, which was super spicy. And then I farmed down the Haxorus, and then I'm able to get the Scald off. And then, as you can see, my stream went down. So that was actually a really good game. I kind of wish the the battles weren't so scuffed there. Anyways, I have Tentacruel onto Charizard. Very good lead on my side here. They're trying to catch, and they come into Poliwrath, and Poliwrath is going to be able to win the 0 when they switch in, just because they're going to be able to make it to 2 Ice Punches before the 1 Seed Bomb KOs. And I thought about how to play this. I end up farming them down. I go for the Shadow Ball. And they end up shielding. They will be able to farm me down. I do throw the Scald. It is on CMP. And they throw the Scald. They throw the Blast Burn, which is a pretty good amount. And they end up shielding. And I let this go. They actually make a play that's actually turned out way better for me. Because actually, if they don't make this catch, I lose this match for sure. I'm able to get the Scald off and put it pretty low, and I get the debuff. So this actually worked out way better for me that they end up catching the move onto Toxicrow. And I am going to shield. The Charizard does not have a move, so I'm going to be able to just double kick this down or get to 2. They are debuffed, which helps me tremendously, and I will get to 2, and I'll just throw the Body Slam, and then throw the Body Slam at the Charizard. So that was a pretty interesting team. Charizard, Toxicrow, and Shadow Poliwrath. A little bit weak to Swampert leads. All right. And then we have Tentacruel into Swampert, which obviously is not great for me. I decided to switch out. I'm going to try to win switch. Throw the Body Slam at the Swampert just to be able to put it about half. And then I let this go. And they come into Shadow Ampharos. And Shadow Ampharos is pretty glassy. So they really should do 2 Volt Switches then throw. It's probably slightly better timing. And I know if I can survive this next Volt Switch, I should be able to grab a shield. Or grab the second shield. And then able to grab the shield. This Ampharos is loaded though. So I come into Tentacruel, and I really hope that they don't have Zap Cannon. They actually do end up having Zap Cannon one-shot me. And then the opponent looks like they're lagging, so I actually stop tapping. And then I come back in, and the Charizard's like already like destroying me here. So this actually would have been a really close game. I think I actually end up losing. I still would end up losing because the one Shadow Ball doesn't KO. End up surviving this move anyways here. Maybe it would have been close. They actually end up coming back into Ampharos. So I guess if they came back into Ampharos instead of Swampert, then I probably would have won the game there. But unfortunate series of lag. Well, not really lag. I guess I was waiting for the opponent because it looked like they were lagging, but I guess they actually weren't, and it just wasn't visually updating. Because I would have been able to make it to the Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw down the Charizard, and then likely be able to outpace the Swampert. And if they come back in Ampharos, I would be able to Shadow Claw down. So, yeah. So Tentacruel into Dragonite. So Shadow Dragonite takes a lot of damage from these poison jabs. As you can see, it's at half. They actually end up catching the move onto Snorlax, which is totally fine for me. I'm actually going to stay in this matchup. And my whole plan here is to let this go. I throw the Scald at them. And then once they're low enough, I'm going to go into Trev because I'm not worried about any of the charge moves. I'm going to look to farm down the Trev. And obviously getting the attack drop is really helpful because lick damage does way less. And then what did I do here? Oh, I tried to bait the Dragonite. Maybe I should just go for the Shadow Ball. I thought almost for sure they're going to shield because they had some energy, but they did not. I will shield. Oh no, they actually did end up shielding. What I'm talking about here. And I will shield. They end up no shielding here. And they come into, okay, no, they don't come into, and this is a very straightforward matchup for me because I double resist the Shadow Claws, and I go for the Body Slam. If they no shield the Body Slam, then I'm just going to make it 3 Body Slams, so it doesn't really matter here. Or I can actually probably farm down here. They actually end up um, throwing the Ice Punch at me. The draw run would be more energy efficient, but maybe they looked up that you need 3 moves anyways. Um, Though it doesn't look like the third Ice Punch would take out my double here. And they attempt to. I guess this game's over anyway, so their Dragon was going to be too low in that situation. So I think I have like 2 more battles I want to show off in these sets. So we have Tentacruel into Toxicrow. A pretty interesting matchup. Both of them throwing resisted fast moves. They do have Mud Bomb, super effective Mud Bombs, but Tentacruel is much tankier than Toxicrow. So actually wait to see if they switch, which they do end up switching, trying to catch the move. So I end up throwing the Scald anyways at them. And then let this the CMP tie here. I end up shielding this because I want to control the switch. So I end up farming them down. And controlling the switch actually ended up paying off for me quite a bit here because it ended up being the exact same backline as the last one. So they end up having, well, I guess didn't have, they had Shadow, Alolan, Sandslash, but it ended up being Sandslash in this case. So I throw the Scald. I was hoping for the debuff there because that would allow me to get the second Scald, but this is quite alright. And they switch out into Toxicrow, and this is a good matchup for the Trevenant because it does double resist the counters, and these Shadow Claws are doing quite a bit. The Sludge Bomb is neutral, does quite a bit of damage, so I am going to throw the Seed Bomb. If they no shield, I can just Shadow Claw down, because Seed Bomb does like probably 25% to the Toxicrow. I end up shielding this move. And I think they actually just barely end up surviving this Seed Bomb, and I'm able to Shadow Claw down. And I am going to look to get to the Seed Bomb, and then I'll just double kick down if otherwise. And again, this is a pretty straightforward matchup for me. These double kicks are doing quite a bit of damage. The Shadow Claws are double resisted, and so I'm just going to go for another Body Slam right away. They do end up reaching the move here, and then another move on the. I guess I could just throw the Body Slam there. That would have taken them out, even though it is resisted. And I will throw here just to take them out and not risk getting hit by 2 more charge moves. The opponent ended up leaving the matchup. So one last battle I want to show here with this team. Yeah, so Trev, I would say is underrated right now. Certainly see a lot of teams in the back that are quite weak to Trev. And running the Trev variant of this team, yeah, at least puts a little bit more pressure on the opponent to make it more difficult to predict what the team's going to be. Because if they think it's going to be Obstagoon, then that works out a little bit better for me. So, I'm not necessarily sure what the correct play here is. So, but I'm not particularly weak to Virizion in the back. So I throw the Body Slam. I end up surviving. I'm hoping I survive. Actually, no, I guess I end up shielding because I want switch here. And I'm farming them down. I'm going to look to switch out and bank all this energy. And they come into Aurorus. And this This is very good for me because the Scald will do super effective damage. The Powder Snows are resisted. I'm not going to shield the first one. Usually they go straight Meteor Beam. Meteor Beam does boost their attack. And I will throw a Scald at this Aurorus. And I get the attack fall, which works out pretty nicely for me. I do end up shielding this move, then make it to another Meteor Beam. Making this Scald will put them extremely low. I guess they're a pretty combo play or something, and the opponent decides to leave the matchup there. So overall, I like this team with this variant. Trev can be a hit or miss, but in this particular meta, I think it's underrated and certainly can surprise a lot of teams that are trying to predict that it's going to be a double Obstagoon in the back. So, anyways, let me know what you think about this team. If you give it a shot, let me know down in the comment section below. If you'd like to, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.